Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have a top 32 breakdown for the 2022 Digimon Card Games North American Finals that literally just concluded like a couple hours ago. I'm exhausted. I've had to put all these lists together, and I know everyone wanted these lists, so I want to just make them out, put them out as soon as possible. And also big just shout outs to Core for running the event, Bandai for letting us be on it, and also my commentary team with Luis and Ben and also Brian for doing the production. Just it was an amazing weekend. I can't get over like how good the stream was. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's on Twitch right now. It's going to be re-uploaded to the Stage Zero, so that's Brian's YouTube channel. The finals are on there right now, but I know what you guys want. I know you guys want to see these deck lists, so let's go over them. So going into this top 32 breakdown, we have 13 Black WarGreymon X, 4 Grandis, 4 Crossheart, 3 Blue Flares, 2 WarGrey X, 2 Security Controls, an Ulforce, Jesmon, Dorbick, and Beelstarmon. So honestly pretty diverse. You do see that big pie chart of the Black WarGreymon X, which did end up winning the event as well. So I think that was something that a lot of people thought, including myself, that it was just the strongest deck in this format. And we're going to see if it's going to continue kind of being that. We're going to have some more events. And I do have some more coverages throughout the week of the other national finals events that went on around the world. But something I'm probably most surprised about is that no Melgas got into the top 32. I know a lot of people were playing it, and it was kind of like obviously the premier deck in the previous format. And also, like I'm really happy to see Crossheart. Dorbickmon was surprising for me. Ulforce was surprising for me. To see both of those and just kind of sneak on in. And there's a lot of cool matches that we were able to cover for this event. So that's the quick breakdown. Let's go into the individual deck lists. Starting off, we do have Aandroidd's Perdomo's first place Black WarGreymon X, and also I'm exhausted right now. I was even more exhausted when I was inputting these deck lists. So if there's any errors, please let me know. I'll do my best to correct them in a timely manner. But I just know you guys wanted to see these deck lists. So this is Andre's first place list, and obviously Black WarGreymon was going to be a really big impact for the event. Obviously winning it is huge for the deck. And this list is really interesting for a couple tech choices that we're going to go over. So I think the baseline for this deck is going to be pretty much similar. I've inputted like over 50 Black WarGreymon lists, I feel like, this weekend between all the events that happened. So this is pretty understood. The bottom line of just like your rookies and your level 4s and your level 5s, and it's really like the tech of the option cards in your top end. So for Andres in general, he did not play the regular, I'd say like the BT8 Black WarGreymon. He's playing the promo Black WarGreymon that's only black, and you also just get to use the effect for Digiburst, which I don't know if he used it very often because he wasn't a very aggressive player. But I do like the idea, like this could be a cheaper way to get to level 6. You Digivolve here for 3, and then you can potentially keep it your turn in a lot of ways. And then running 3 of the Gaiomon, which I think is a really good card for the mirror match. Being able to play it and then immediately attack over your opponent's Black WarGreymon X's or something else they have in the stack is really strong, especially with all the DP boosts that this deck can have. And then also just 2 of the Black WarGrey X, but also 2 of the Omni X antibody, and it's the BT5 one. And this was a card I wasn't on for the beginning of this event. This was a card like, why are you playing this? I like the BT10 one. I think it's cooler. But this is 100% just, I think, the better card for the archetypes that we're seeing, especially Grandis. The fact that you can play this, and then you can usually, negate 2, 3, maybe even 4 attacks with this card, just because of how it works. So even just being able to stop 2 attacks means that Grandis won't be able to use 1 stack to try to go over your stuff, and then you can use the X antibody next turn to get it out. So I really like that add for this deck, and I think is a good matchup awareness card, especially at 2. 2 just means you're going to see it if you go up your line, which you really easily do in this archetype. And also 1 Hades Force, only 1, which is really surprising. I'd almost expect more, especially since it's such a good card against Crossheart. And spoilers for the finals, he saw the Hades Force and it won him. I feel like it won him finals. Like honestly, this one card did that. So really strong there. And then obviously Yuya, obviously Cool Boy is very strong in a lot of decks that can utilize it, and just a really solid list. And I do like the 3-2 split between the Koromons. The extra DP you get is really important sometimes, so I do like that there. But honestly, just congrats to Andres. If you guys want to see the finals, again, that is on YouTube right now, so make sure to hit the link there in the description. And the rest of the matches will be re-uploaded there, and it is on my Twitch right now too. So congrats to Andres for their finish there. Next up, we have Kevin Ty's second place Crossheart, and really big fan of Crossheart in this meta. If I was to play in this event, I've said it in videos before, I think Crossheart is what I'd play. I think it's a really unique deck. I think there's a lot of ways for not only creative deck building, but a lot of creative plays as well. And ended up going with the Cross 7 package. I'm on the Merva package more often, and that did win the EU Nationals as far as I'm concerned right now. I'm still looking into the deck list, but the Cross 7 stuff can do really great, and I think it's very powerful for it. So cards, like different things that I've noticed for this one. One, running one of the King version. This can be really good for recycling stuff, and finding space for this I think is really hard. So being able to do that I think is helpful. No GX of the Omni or the DX version of this because that's the one can be either the Omni Shout or the Z Gray. So you're really tempted to run it, right? If you're missing one, it can be the other one. But I think I understand not running it because it doesn't have any inheritables. It's just a material for free. But that's not really good enough for these decks. Sometimes you really need that blocker. Sometimes you really need that security attack +1, and that's strong. And then obviously Shoutmon Cross 7 is really costly at times, but being able the big thing about this deck is that you can have you can have a board, you can wipe it, you can have no card in raising like you hatch the egg, but you can still just say, well, I have 3 memory and all the resources I need on my tamers are even just in my hand, and from nothing I can start again, and that's really really powerful. So obviously it can be really good at aggressions. Obviously it does now have some interaction with your opponent with Cross 7 being able to pop some stuff and just everything else. So really strong list. I'm happy to see Crossheart doing well. I really like the deck, and hopefully it doesn't do too well. Hopefully it's not obnoxious, but I think it's really cool it got second. So congrats to Kevin on their finish there. And then next up we have Jimmy's top 8 security control. And security control is like in a really weird spot. There wasn't as many people on it as I've seen previously, but it did get some tops at this event. Specifically this one, honestly, BT11 didn't have a lot of cards, or really any cards to add to this archetype. Obviously, this archetype is also just a fan-based one, or at least it's not an official archetype. It's more of just kind of using what's good for it. So a lot of interesting text and one-ofs for this one. So for example, like Salmon X to go over the Salmon, the Kaiser Leomon is a one-of to go over it as hybrids, but also the Magna and the Rapidmon, both for just destruction. Magnamon is also just a really good blocker, and the armor purge for both these is really great, especially for like the Grandis matchup, so the piercing doesn't happen. Magna Angemon as well, and just being able to go up your lines with these, like even though they're expensive to go into these, they're very strong for what they are. So Kuyamon's great at what it does. Avenge Kidmon, Fall Down Mode, Death. Like honestly, we've been seeing these kind of lists for a while. They're all very strong at what they can do, and there's a lot of just I don't know, like some decks still need to respect that, the security is really bad. And a lot of people were on Grandis this week, and none of them I saw were running any of the red stuff. They're strictly just running the green. If they're doing another color, they're green blue. So if you really wanted to beat Grandis, this is the way. Obviously, WarGrey X does have ways to prevent security triggers from happening by using the Metal Greymon inheritable, so that's something you have to watch out for. But yeah, I think WarGrey X generically has a lot of ways to get around security control, so it might be not the premier pick as something, but I think it's still very strong, very obnoxious to deal with, and just big congrats to Jimmy for their finish there. Next up, we have Landon's top 8 Grandis, and this again, we had a lot of people play Grandis. Only 4 made it into that top 32, I believe, and it's I don't have a lot to say. I'd say this list is pretty spicy though, with the addition of the Refusement, Digiburst 2. This is an older card from BT5. All your Digimon get +2 for the turn. Your turn once per turn. When one of your Digimon activates to reverse, one of your opponent's Digimon can attack or block until the end of your opponent's next turn. So being able to get that stun is great. The fact that you can Digivolve on top of a level 6, which you already have your stack, is really strong there too. You're almost always going to have your 2 sources, even if you do the full combo to do that. So it just means like you can turn off like a blocker or an attack next turn. So that's very strong. And I think he totally took a lot of players off guard with that. So obviously, by doing this package, you can't run blue. I know a lot of people like blue-green just because like Megadeth is a really good card still. Davis is great for finding more of your pieces if you're missing them. But I think this is a really sweet tech that kind of went through. And then also 3 Grand Soul, obviously very good in the mirror match. Very good against Crossheart too because it bottom decks it, which means you don't get any of the material save or anything else. And I think this is a good card for those matchups as well. So just congrats to Landon on their finish. Top 8 is just incredible, and just really like of a Grandis list to get the top position. Like this was obviously the really unique one and just some text I hadn't considered for the deck. So next up, we do have Bryce's top 16 Dorbick, and this is a list that I will say consistently sleep on. Sometimes I'm allowed to, but it got top 16 in like the biggest event we've ever had, so probably need to respect it a little bit more. Wasn't even on my tier list for the event. I didn't think it was going to get a top, but man, really, really cool for what it does. Very strong in a lot of ways, and I'm gonna probably miss out a lot of the more intricate combos for it, but the big way you use this deck is that we're very stack based right now. It's very easy to have like one or two Digimon out, or even just have something in raising. So you can really punish your opponent by having WarGrey, which says when attacking was returned, if your opponent has no Digimon with Devolution cards in play, unsuspend this Digimon. So if your opponent doesn't have anything else, this means that you can swing with this twice. It's very easy for this card to get security attack +2, and then even if they have something, it's very easy to pop something when you play it, and just go 2 swings, put your opponent 0, and say, I hope you can out this because I'm way in ahead. So I think that's very strong. The card choices, Gilmon being able to Digivolve into X Antibody is great. The fact that like Burning Greymon is a tamer or like a hybrid, we can go on top of your ties. The fact that ties can also add a security attack +1. A delicate plan if you're really worried about that security, and then just a bunch of draw with Air of Dragons, Fireball, and Red Mem Boost. So a little bit linear for what it is, but a very explosive deck in a lot of ways, and just very strong. So it's really neat to see it. I really do like seeing decks top that weren't even on my radar. And this people in my comments were saying I probably should respect it, and I definitely do. So congrats to Bryce on their top 16 there. Next up, we have Cliff Walker's top 32 All Force. And when I made like my tier list video, I'm like, All Force isn't top. And then like 2 days before the event, I'm like, all right, All Force can get like one top. That's it. And that's exactly what happened. It's got one top for this event. And it's a really cool list. I've been playing it more. I've been seeing the potential for it. And I think that there's a lot of cool things that this deck can do that I really like to see. So first off, I'd say like this is a pretty teched out version for what it does. It runs like a couple Kumamons. It runs 4 exactly. So it really just says, you know what? I'm like a blue hybrid, like a blue tamer list, but at the end of the day, so I want to get that value from it. It then also has the Veedramon 0, so when attacking, if you're blue tamer, trash 3 to give this +2, but also inheritive, you place 3 non-digi egg cards at the bottom of your deck to draw 1. So just the draw 1 is really easy for this deck to really want to do. And then just the Arrow Veedramon package, and then the All Force, including the Merciful mode. So being able to use this to get some interaction with your opponent is good. It's an interesting top end for this one, but I think it's good for what it is, because at the start of your turn you can get like an additional trash of something. So Blue Mem Boost is good. Kakai's Breath probably just needed to be in my list, honestly, just some kind of removal for some stuff. And then Tamer Layout is 12, so 4 Arena, 3 Davis. One of them Matt Sword is because you all have a pretty big hand, and most decks are making big hands right now. And then 4 of the V Tamer. I really like this card, and not because I bought it like day one and then I never used it, and now I have a reason for it to use it like 2 years later. But I think it's just strong specifically for this deck. The fact that it's a boost if you need it, it's a draw if you need it, and sometimes you have really low hand size because you're playing these tamers for free. So big congrats to Cliff on their finish there. Make sure, like, just congrats for getting All Force in that top 32. And just big congrats. So next up we have Sean Hobbs top 32 Blue Flare. All the blue flares got into, I believe, were top 32 cap. They all lost round 1, unfortunately. But this is a deck that I've been believing in for a little bit. I think it's been overshadowed by Metal Garurumon for far too long. It did get some new support in this in this set, including just a second rookie with the blue flare typing, which is really great for the deck. But also just the addition of the Cyber Launcher, the addition of Z Greymon for just an additional finisher for you, and also the Triple Tamer is just so good for what you need. It's just another tamer for you to be able to do your Digicross from underneath them. The fact that you're able to get some cycle with it, all this is very good. It just helps out the deck a lot. So, and honestly, this is something that I wasn't attuned to. I didn't really see it until it happened, and it wasn't Sean's who did it, but the idea that you can this card, like Metal Greymon with Digivolving into Metal Greymon X with the Greymon underneath it from starter deck 1. This does 3 attacks, and you can attack twice with it. Like, or it just does 3 damage. It does 3 damage, and then next turn if it lives, it does 2 damage as long as it lives. And that's one of the games did that. It ended on turn 2 because that's exactly what they did. So you got to respect that. That's just super crazy that it's a viable thing for something that's like, obviously it's not something you're leaning hard into for it, and it's not something you can consistently do. But man, when you just get like a free win, like what, 5% of the time. That feels pretty good for a deck like this one, who also has consistent and other kind of win conditions. So I think Zackery is a really good add for the deck for another top end, and just I like this deck a lot. I'm happy that it got some tops and seeing some usage too. So congrats to Sean for their top 32 with this list specifically. We also have David's top 32 WarGrey X. So this is I think a one of the better like red aggro lists. I didn't think it was something that was super strong. I think Black WarGreymon is a little bit better outright, but this can just do a lot of damage at the same time. There's a lot of power for it. Greymon X does boost up this list as well. I know there's contention between either this one or the old one, but like this one, being able to cheaply digivolve is just good. For 0 memory, get a cost reduction, and like you get the free cycle. It's just there's a lot going on with that card. So WarGrey X is great. Being able to trash security is good. Being able to run WarGreymon in Archetype and get the boost, and ignoring it is good. And then the 4 that we see here of Omni X, and then also the Omni X antibody for Grandis matchups. And again, I'm 100% on board with this card being a really good card for specifically stuff like Grandis, especially since Greymon is so much better at putting a lot more cards underneath their stacks with the X antibody stuff. So not much more to talk about that. Congrats to David on their top 32 finish there. And then we also have a Jesmon, and again in the tier list video I made, I bumped Jesmon up at like the last part of the video. I'm like, you know what? It probably deserves to be on here. I've been burned by Jesmon so many times where it's going to be good now. It's finally good now, but I think it's good. I think it's the best it's ever been for a format, which again is not saying a lot, but it has a lot of cool tools with it. It's just weird because like it's been having these tools since BT10, and it still hasn't been showing up as much. But top 32 at again the largest event we've ever had is quite good. So going over these techs, we do have like the Solarmon, so can't reduce play cost to something that's really good against something like Crossheart, which is relevant and got second, so you do want those techs against that, especially when it's free in your archetype like it is. The Redman boost, and honestly, like a lot of this is pretty easy for the deck to go into. And the big thing for this one too is like there's no GX. They're not running any Jesmon GX, right? Yeah, no Jesmon GX in this build, which is really interesting. They do have like the 3 of the Jesmon and the Jesmon X and the Omnimon, but just deciding, you know what, I think the level 6s are good enough as they are. They generate a lot of advantage for me. They're able to play a lot of Sistermons. And something else too is that I didn't see as much Death X this weekend as I thought I would. People aren't using as much as they have for like tech options, and I just don't think it's as strong as it has been. So really interesting there. I don't have much more to say about this deck. You do have like your own personal ratios for Sistermons and your top end and stuff, but just congrats to Angel. Congrats for getting Jesmon into that top 32. And to round it off, we do have Michael Primitive Fladung's top 32 Beelstar. And what a run to get Beelstar into a top 32 like that. It's a very, kind of mean deck in the time, not only to your opponent, but yourself. You have to run a lot of these level 7 cost option cards, which are really good, but at the same time can really hurt you in a lot of ways. But being able to run a deck like this consistently over 9 rounds and get that top 32 is, I think, just a really, really big accomplishment. So obviously, there's a lot of tech options that go into a deck like this. The Lucimon is a really interesting one as well for the just free recovery. You're going to have 10 or more cards in your trash by like turn 2, so you're not even worried about that. Psychmon is also the Systemon blocked. We get trash at level 7 cost option card, and then you get to draw 2, which is great. And then just kind of everything else that goes with Eismon package. No scatter, or only scatter modes. No of the regular Eismon, which is pretty interesting as a choice there. Because even it feels like an auto include, but again, you got top 32, so you know what you're talking about. 2 Death X-Mons, which I was just saying isn't really there, but it is there a little bit. And then just a lot of particular ratios. I know specifically Michael takes this really seriously. He always wants to do well, so he tests a lot. He puts the ratios exactly how he wants them. So I'm not going to argue with any of them. He knows what he's talking about, and that's really it. So I think Michael, he's probably doing a deck profile if he hasn't already, so make sure to check that out if you guys are more interested. But that is going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you again for all the support this weekend. Everyone I met was amazing. Stream was amazing. Players are amazing. Judges are amazing. Just the best event I've ever been to. I can say that wholeheartedly. It was just a really, really good weekend. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys do appreciate it, and I'll catch you all next time.